I think we're good to go. Elle Ingalls here, coming in the evening today. I was with my grandbabies for most of the day today, so a really, really special day. And wanted to come in with a topic that I find of great concern to a lot of people that I work with, to people that I know in general, and that's overwhelmingly feeling worried. Worry is one of those things that sometimes people think is hereditary. Like, okay, so my mom was a worry wart, and my family, everybody worries all the time. And so that's why I worry, that it's almost genetic. Certainly, there's some learned behavior in there. Like if we grow up in a house where people are constantly worrying about things, overly cautious, that can cause us to have a lot of concerns and worries. But we build them. We build them throughout our lifetime, and there are circumstances and there's evidence that will stack up and actually like prove our worrying, justify it to us. So I wanted to untangle that for you tonight and give you some tips, help you out a little bit here. And if worry is an issue for you, like if you find yourself overwhelmed with worry, I'd love to have a conversation with you. So you can always go to my website. There's a little book the call button right on my site, and we can have a conversation. So that's at lingalls.com, pressure-free.com. All right, the little first thing to untangle about worrying is to ask yourself, am I worrying about something in the future that I have no idea if it's going to turn out that way? So are we catastrophizing? Is a made up word. It's like a verb of catastrophe. Are we catastrophizing that something terrible is going to happen? We're really, really great fiction writers in our head, and that fiction writing is exacerbated when we're in the stress response. So when a worry first comes over you, that's the moment to pause and ask yourself, okay, am I overreacting? Am I taking this too far? Making a mountain out of a molehill is another expression you'll hear. So just take that beat of a second, few seconds, and just ask yourself that question. And you may be able to settle your nervous system right then and there because the answer is no. Like, I'm not sure what's going to happen, and I'm making it up in my head. I'm fictionalizing it. Sometimes for certain clients, I'll have them go into a pattern of, okay, imagine the very worst thing and the very best thing. And if it falls somewhere in the middle, are you okay? Right? So that's another little thing you can do. It's like, what's the very worst thing that could happen here? And that can sometimes take the edge off because the very worst thing really isn't that bad in some scenarios. Some scenarios it is, but in others it isn't. So that's another little tip that you can use to help with worry. The thing about worry is to notice, is my body tightening when the thought comes in? That's a clue that you're starting to overreact. That's a clue that your body is actually giving your brain, what would you call it? Like, not symptoms, but signals, signals to go into fight or flight. So again, go right to those abs, especially the lower abs. A lot of our worry has to do with feeling safe in the world. I have these conversations quite frequently with people, and I'm astonished at how many people in today's society just don't feel safe. We don't have a lot of the nets we used to have. We don't have intergenerational families living together where there's if like one income goes down, someone else can pull up and help out the family. That's really gone by the wayside for most of us. We move halfway. I moved halfway across the country to go to college and then got married to someone in Michigan and stayed out here. So I was away from my family by 1,000 miles for my whole adult life, which is why I now try to make as frequent trips as I can back east to see my extended family that are still living. They matter to me. So that fabric of connection has been lost. A lot of people live alone and don't have safety nets. So when you're alone, and I remember my mother-in-law when her husband passed away, my father-in-law, um, having these discussions with her, she goes, just the very basic going over a problem with someone over dinner, is such a healing thing. But when you've lost a partner or when you live by yourself, you don't really have that sounding board, someone who's just listening or, maybe not giving suggestions, but just there to provide support as you work through something. So friendship is really important. If you find yourself rather isolated, it's time to get out. It's time to join something. Join a club, join a church, join a service club. Get out and start to create a network for yourself so that you're not quite so all alone. Because loneliness is definitely a thing that can compound worries. I've noticed that the things people worry about the most are money, health, and money and health about someone else. So I did a survey once at a conference that was mostly women age 40 to 70. And the one of the number one, it wasn't number one, it was I think number three causes of their stress was the fear for their adult children's lives, that they were having struggles, financial struggles, mental health struggles in general, physical health. Like they were so worried about their adult children. And that really struck me because I don't think that would have been the case if you'd asked my grandparents if they were worried about my parents. Um, I don't think they were very worried about my parents. I don't think so at all. My parents went through the Depression. They were very self-sufficient. They were very independent at a young age. We raised our own children that way. Our children were very independent at a young age and able to care for themselves, honestly. They could make money. And so let's go to the money worry first. Money is it's got some components to it that can really overblow the worry. We use money as a currency to exchange value for our talents, for what we can provide to the world, whether that's doing something with our hands or our minds or both. And so we're making this exchange. And so if we're having money trouble, it speaks to us deep inside that we're not of value. Like there's a value issue going on. And you'll notice you probably hold a lot of tension in your abs and your lower abs if you're having money difficulty. You're that's it's a safety issue. Excuse me. Choked up a little. It's a safety issue. And if we feel that we are not bringing enough money in, then we feel unsafe. So we'll tighten that part of our body because we're trying to protect ourselves. So in order to get flow of money going and stop worrying about it, the first step is to realize what you have. You have far more than you think you do because we usually don't assess it very well or very much. So I'll ask people, do you know what your net worth is? And they have no idea. And this is people at all kinds of socioeconomic levels. They've never created a balance sheet. They've never listed out everything that they own, all the accounts that they have, and they haven't listed out everything they owe. So that's what a balance sheet is. What do you own minus what do you owe? So when you take a look at that, no matter what the number is, then you can assess, is it growing or diminishing? So how do we grow it? That's when you can look at your profit loss statement. So that's what you earn minus what you spend. People spend a lot of time on that, but I always have people do a balance sheet first. It's the chance to get your head out of the sand. For example, I know physicians that have huge amounts of student debt, and they're also trying to live a certain lifestyle. So they may have income coming in, but they have a lot of creditors. They have a lot of loans for houses, cars, for their student loans. So that net worth number might actually be negative. And so if that's the case, if you have a negative net worth, I always go right to the abs again. Relax those abs. And you have great skills. If you have student loans, you just learned a lot. We build our assets from our intangible assets, what we know, what our skills are, our personality traits, all the things that you know how to do. You can find ways to make money from all the things you know how to do. It's really interesting when you can start to open that up, but you'll forget about those things if doubt creeps in, if you trigger the stress response. Because remember, when we're in the stress response, all we're trying to do is protect ourselves from a physical attack. So our brain is not capable of really assessing very well. So when you're doing all this money assessment, I encourage you to just get very soft and do it very patiently. And it probably won't take you long. You just open up your accounts and like, how much money do you have? What do you have? Do you have a car you could sell? What's the Blue Book value? How much could you sell it for today if you needed the money? So that you get a baseline understanding of, wow, I have more money than I thought I did. Do you have jewelry you could sell? Right? Like I know it sounds crazy, but when we understand what we have, and we're so blessed in this century to have so much more than we could ever dream, that just helps give you a bit of a safety net. So you understand your condition and where you are. What are your resources? What help can you get? Can you take out a loan? Can you get some help somewhere? So there's all kinds of things you can build in that for money. Let's go to health for a moment. So with health, if you start to have a concern, notice that you will really go into some worrying. And that worrying will just compound and compound and compound. You'll go online and you'll look at things and then you'll, all the things you may possibly do. If it's tightening your shoulders, if it's tightening your body, that's actually going to, whatever the thing is, whatever's going on, is going to make it worse. We need our body to be relaxed. We need our mind to be relaxed. We need to assume health for ourselves. Whatever this condition is, what does it take to get out of it? What do I need to do? So asking those empowering questions is a really great tip for health. To close out, I want to share that with money, health, relationships is another big one, a big stressor. You will actually fictionalize what someone else is thinking about you, and it could be so wrong. I've done it before. It's like that person isn't even thinking about me, and I'm thinking they're thinking all this stuff about me, and they're not even thinking about me. So again, check yourself in the first moment you feel that tension and the thought come in, and ask yourself, do I know that it's even true? Probably not. It's like fiction going on in here. So taking a step back for that as well. With all three of these, so money, health, and relationships and worries around them, if someone else is going through it, you may worry as well. And that worry is tension, which is not helpful to the person going through it. We think of it as sympathy and even empathy that, oh, I understand your condition and I'm so sorry you're going through that, but look at my face. That's all tension. That tense energy is literally affecting the person that you want to help heal. So it's counterintuitive. We've been conditioned to tighten toward pain. But what I teach my clients to do is relax away from the pain, open, relax your belly, relax your pecs, go really wide, relax your face, flip the switch on your thoughts and assume success. Assume success for the people you're thinking of and assume success for yourself. There's a lot of sun coming in here, sorry. It's beautiful though. It's a gorgeous day in Michigan today after a lot of the Canadian wild smoke. I'm still thinking about the people in Canada who have gone through that. There's so much loss up there. So I'm not worrying about them. I'm assuming that they're going to be fine and they're going to get the help they need and they're going to get the resources to rebuild or whatever they're going to do next. Rebuild somewhere else if they need to. So that's an example right there of, okay, if I worried, my body would be tight, I'd be full of concern. But instead, I'm going to go wide, I'm going to go open, I'm going to assume success and send beautiful energy to those people. They're not that far from me here in Michigan. We go across Lake Superior, and there we go, up in Lake Nipigon, where my husband's been a few times, so thinking about all that and opening all that up. That's what I have for you tonight. I have a client who's about to come here in a moment, so that's why I had to go a little bit earlier than my earlier statement of going at 8:15. Um, when a client needs me, I make things work for them as best that I can. It's part of my service, and it's what makes pressure free really special. So I wish you a great pressure free day. Bye.